This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, who's caller one? Hello?
Hi, Chuck, it's Bob. I don't know if what number I'm on, but I'm here.
That's fine, you're caller one.
Okay.
Now you're Chief Cormier.
I just put in his name.
Iris is on. I'm going to go ahead, given the time, and I'm going to start reading my statement that I need to read at the beginning of all of these things. And then we will go ahead and do a quick roll. To be honest with you, I believe right now, I'm not sure if I believe we still have a couple of people who might be joining us, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. As chair of the Tilton Trail Advisory Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by Governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the governor's emergency order. By the way, I'm actually going to put my glasses on to help read. In accordance with the governor's pandemic order number 12, pursuant to executive order 22004, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and to listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to this meeting by phone with additional access possibilities by video and other electronic means. We are utilizing the electronic meeting and all members of the Trail Advisory Committee abilities to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to the contemporaneously listen and if necessary to participate in this meeting through dialing in the following phone number: 1-877-309-2073 with a passcode of 740-615-637. And you can go to the website address of https://www.gotomeet Town of Tilton Trail Advisory. Yes. Okay, let me continue. Providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We have previously gave notice to the public the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the meeting using GoToMeeting or telephonically. Instruction have also been provided on the website of the town of Tilton under boards and commissions at www.tiltonnh.org. Providing a mechanism for the public to alert the body during the meeting. If there's anyone with any questions or problems, try to call me, please, at 286-4268 or email me at cmitchell@metrocast.net. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes are taken during this meeting shall be done by a roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call for the attendance, with each member stating their presence, and also please state whether or not there's anyone else in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. Okay, I will go ahead, since some of you have already muted yourselves, I will call on you. John Scanlon.
John Scanlon, present. I'm by myself.
Okay, Iris. Can you unmute yourself, Iris?
Okay, here, sorry. Sorry. Iris Ayano present. I am in my room alone, but my children are in the other part of the house.
Not a problem. Rick.
Rick Silverberg, I'm by myself.
Okay. Hi, Jeannie Forrester. How are you? Jeannie's not an official member of the committee, but we've asked her to join in. And Chief Cormier.
Chuck, yeah, I'm here. I'm home. Jen and her boys are in the house as well, but I'm here and ready.
Okay. I wanted to just put up on the screen, so long as I can do this here. Let me do this where it says screen. And I don't know if everyone can see this. I hope you can.
Not yet, Chuck.
Can you see it yet?
No.
Screen, wait a minute, share.
There you go.
Okay.
There we go. Now we can see it.
Back in March of 2015, the agreement was signed between the town of Tilton and New Hampshire. It's all right here. And it had to do with the agreements. And when you look at item number 3, and I do have an enlarged version of that, it said they'll create into a committee to advise recommendations to the Board of Selectmen for the expenditure of said funds. That had to do with the $10,000 that was put aside. We know for years that didn't really exist, but we are here. Composition will be determined by the Board of Selectmen, but the committee will consist of at least one Word of Board member and who shall be a resident of Tilton. The advisory committee will be responsible for, and this is interesting, preparing a maintenance plan and providing a maintenance activity report to the town to ensure that maintenance, repairs, and whatever is all in the reconstruction activities are all in compliance with all the provisions of the agreements referenced above, and the advisory committee shall meet at least annually. Well, as you know, we have, by the way, it's taking me a minute to get used to all the different buttons that I can pull up on different screens. I'm going to have to get rid of this one here, I think. No, I don't want to leave the meeting. I'm trying to get to another screen. Anyway, all I was going to do is I had blown up our charge. So I assume everyone is familiar with what that charge is. And on the agenda tonight, I kind of am suggesting that if anyone here has any questions or wanted to review any of the concerns that they might have relative to the trail or what our charge is, that we could go ahead and have a brief discussion on this. And one of the things that I guess is I just want to make sure that we are meeting once in a while or periodically, even though originally I think we had suggested the 4 times a year, the 1st of January and May or whatever, 4 months later. But since we haven't met since last October, I thought it was time that we met at this time of year, given the fact that the trail and the parking lot's open over at Salmon Run. I wanted to make sure that everybody is on the same page and see where we are. Rick, you're still involved, I assume, with the trail committee?
Yes, my term as chair ended. We have a term limit. So Marcia Feener is the new chair, but I am still on the committee. And we've actually got a meeting next week on Tuesday. We are planning our spring maintenance for June and waiting to hear from the governor with announcements to make sure that we could still do that. We think we can if we're good about staying 6 feet apart, and if we do gather in a parking lot, to make sure we have masks and things. But generally, when we're out doing trail maintenance, we're each using our own rakes or shovels, and we're pretty spread out. There's no major damage to the trail this year. Couple of minor things. I was out last fall and did a lot of clearing of limbs and branches and things. And then I went out on March 3rd, very shortly before things started to be shut down because of COVID-19, and walked the entire Tilton, Northfield, and Franklin sections. I had arranged for someone to pick me up at the other end. And there was a little snow on the trail still, but things were in very good shape. All the drainage was working right. Most importantly, the work under the interstate highway is mostly done, and that part is reopened. They may notify us at any time that they need to go back in there to finish, because it's clearly not finished. But for right now, they don't seem to be doing any of that type of work because of COVID-19.
So the trail is now completely open from exit 20 down to Tilton.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Now, one concern that I have at some point is we went ahead and had mile markers made, and the last I knew they were sitting in the office of Catherine Dawson.
We could
idea?
certainly add that to the list of things to do when we have our trail maintenance this spring, later this June, is put those up.
When you do have your meeting, it would be nice if you want, when you were going to do your trail maintenance, unless you have enough people, to go ahead and notify us. And I'm sure we can have Tim put a notice up on the Tilton's website if you're looking for any volunteer labor.
That'd be great. Like I said, we're having a trail committee meeting by Zoom next week on Tuesday evening. One of the major topics is trail maintenance for June. And the only thing that would stop us from doing it is if we're not opened up for gatherings by then. But so far, it looks like by then we'll be in phase 2. And as long as we keep our 6-foot distance and provide some opportunity for people to use hand sanitizer if they need to, or wash their hands, that we should be fine. And we'll certainly let you know so that a notice could go up. And then we would be also putting it onto the websites and out for general consumption. Tilton School has often had volunteers, since they're not in session right now, in the same way that they have been in the past. That might be less teenagers involved, but they've usually done that in the fall, not in the spring. So maybe next fall they'll be back in session and we'll reach out to them again.
If you have a contact person, it might even be worth contacting the school in case they've got some local people they would like to get involved.
Yep, we can certainly look into that.
Iris, you got anything you'd like to suggest or report?
No, I was just going to say the same thing, with that we were due to have a meeting next week. So I'm sure some stuff will come up, and we could have Masha probably email you with anything that they're going to do, so that way you'd be abreast of all the information.
Okay. John Scanlon, I know you're new to the committee. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I think we discussed before, last fall, we talked about maybe we can do something to make the bulletin board there a little more current, and some information that I haven't looked at in a couple months, but that would be nice. Maybe some pictures of what's going on.
I do know that as the Conservation Commission was, I think, responsible for one side, and Kathy and I have talked about that. And one of the things that I have is even back when we had our grand opening, I had must have been 50 or more pictures that we had, and some of them were all laminated. And I'm sure it would be nice if we could put up a small collage of some of the things back during what it was Ernie's all the way up to present. And I don't know that people are going to want to see that, but necessarily if there are some other ideas, then we'll be glad to do that. The other thing, Kathy and I were in there in the parking lot yesterday, and we looked at the gardens in there, and they are a total mess. We're going to try to go down with the two of us with a rake and some clippers and do some pruning and things in there and do a basic cleanup. And I guess once I get that done, I probably can notify you, John, who could then go through GD and have maybe the town come in and pick up the debris that we have. I'm also going to be bringing to the Conservation Commission, hopefully shortly, whether we want to post an RFP or whether or not I dare to use Facebook. No slander on Facebook, but when you look at some of the comments, I'm sure that anyone who goes to Facebook periodically that looks at the Tilton, Northfield, Franklin talking with a local sites, you see the kinds of comments in there. I'm not sure that it would be worth posting in there that we're looking to hire someone to go in and maintain the gardens or not. I'm looking for input if anybody has a comment. Okay, no comment. I'll let that be a decision of the Conservation Commission, but we do need to hire someone to go in there because just waiting for volunteer labor just doesn't get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Slightly related, when you're down there looking, Chuck, at the gardens, take a look at whether the Japanese knotweed has started to grow immediately behind the Sullivans in the drainage ditch again or not. When I was there on March 2nd, there was still too much snow and ice to tell. I can only see last year's dead rushes, but as soon as it gets warm, those things start to grow like crazy. The reason I'm asking is because the Winnipesaukee River Trail Committee did have discussion last year and has contacted several licensed sprayers. And I'm supposed to be, again, we're waiting to make sure we're still within the governor's rules about staying safe. But we plan to go out this summer with one of the licensed sprayers and get some estimates to do the eradication. And one of the places on the list was that piece on the drainage ditch right behind the Sullivans.
I would add that the piece of land across the street from my house had a great deal of Japanese knotweed. There was a section out in the edge of the field, which is now bare ground. And earlier last year, we dug and then we sprayed, and then we dug and then we sprayed. I haven't seen traces of it there yet, but we've got a kind of what Kathy and I call our mezzanine, where we have some plant life in an area where plants in an area where it's got a lot of black mulch. And Kathy did go in there and find some just popping up. So it's probably still a little early to see the knotweed above ground much, at least right now. But I'm sure we'll keep an eye on it. I know last year that Paul Rushlow, who is licensed to spray, was not interested in trying to do the whole trail area, but I do know that he had done some small amount of spraying around on Salmon Run last year, and right down over the riverbank before the trestle there or after the trestle going downstream is an area that he had treated before, as well as some of that behind Sullivan's property. I'm sure that if there's anything in there, we can get that probably dealt with. But, you know, I will wait till I talk to Paul before I confirm that.
Hey, Chuck, I just wanted to mention, you know, maybe also check with Jeannie to see if there's anything that can be done internally the selectmen instituted, at least for employees, a hiring freeze on all full-time, part-time, and seasonal employees. And we're really trying to manage what's looking like a difficult budget year, so that maybe if there is an opportunity for something to be done somehow internally, that at least that be explored before you go out to bid on anything.
Tim, just as a follow-up, even though there is money in the budget for maintenance at Salmon Run, that would still be something that you would not wish us to do?
Well, no, it's more, well,
Yes.
it's hard to say what's going to happen right now, but things are looking a little dicey. Let me just put it that way. So I would just say before you put anything out, maybe if you, just sort of see what ideas Jeannie might have, or brainstorm it, or, if we understand what requirements there are, if there's something that could be done internally, maybe that's part of the option.
Okay, I get
Just
it.
to explore it.
We had one person in town who's been active with some things, who actually last year just enjoys flowers and flower beds, and I won't bother mentioning a name. And they had actually volunteered to go in and do it. When I contacted the person this just within the last few weeks, they said they were, because of some other responsibilities right now during this COVID-19 thing, they would not have the time to devote to it. So anyway, anyone else have anything? If not, then thank.
I guess the only other thing is, and the chief might be able to chime in on this a little bit. On the other side of the river, there's been quite a bit of some homeless activity with some encampments where people have posted that. I think we want to, I'm not sure how the subject's handled, but it does produce a lot of litter down through there, and I want to make sure we can get some patrols through there, so that if anybody's doing anything that's going to be littering or um, other types of illegal activities, we want to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, John, just to piggyback on that, I did catch up with the captain and Noel today, in anticipation of the meeting. The cap did get some grant money for bicycle patrols, and we have 4 ready to go. And they're going to start to do some patrols down there now that the weather and trails are available. And they'll probably, watch and monitor for any illegal activity, whether it's, drinking or drug use or littering, and then contact anyone down there and just make sure that, they're not doing anything illegal or disturbing the peace down there. But they're going to start to, do their summer patrols down there as soon as, like, within the next week or so. So I'll keep you guys posted if we do see anything or have any issues down there.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Rick, since our charge has something to do with putting together a maintenance report, that kind of thing that we could give to the town, needless to say, it would be very helpful after your group does a meeting and does any work out there, that you could provide some kind of a written documentation that we can at least forward to the select board.
Yeah, that's what we did last year. So certainly do that again.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I would like to go ahead and suggest, if someone would like to move to adjourn, I'll even call for a roll call vote.
I'll
John,
move to adjourn.
Oh, Iris, move to adjourn. John Scanlon.
Second.
Okay, John Scanlon says yes. Iris.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Chuck, yes. Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you very much for your time. I will keep you informed.
Thank you, everybody.
I will try to, by the way,
Thank you, everybody.
I want to get back in touch with, and thank you, Chief Cormier and Iris, everybody. I want to let you know, I somehow or other, I'm not sure I ever got copies of the minutes from our November meeting. I tried to contact Alyssa. I'll try to get that out to you. it's not a big deal at this point, but we'll move forward. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I am going to leave and sign out. End the meeting for all.